Well, our friend Lou, who messed up the first stalk, is going to save the day. 2 hours later, Lou finds the same deer bedded in a large draw. He is hand signaling the direction of the group of bucks. Patrick and Richard quickly grab their gear and strike out for the first hill. Since they can't see the deer, they'll have to watch Lou's hand signals through binoculars until they can find the bucks. This hunt requires lots of patience. The stalk must be slow, and you have to glass every inch of the prairie until you find the deer. Richard waits while Patrick eases to the break of the hill.
Patrick is going to try to ease up to the top of the hill, peek right over this little hill right here, and see if they're going to be right there on the other side. We think they're right on the other side by the way they came around when we first saw them.
Well, there they are. Finally, we've relocated them. It's 3 real good muley bucks. But a quick survey of the terrain, and Patrick realizes there's no way to get into the effective range from this side. The deer are bedded, so he chooses to take Richard back and around. Lou can't be over 100 yards from the deer, and the wind direction should be perfect to come in from that side. Well, let's hear what Patrick has to say about a stalk hunt like this.
Our clothing, you want to have cotton clothing, chamois clothing, something that's not going to make a lot of noise when it's brushing against the bushes, because you are going to brush up against these. The camouflage pattern that we're using right here, this mossy oak stuff, works really well out here in the sagebrush. As you can see, when you get down next to the bushes, you become almost invisible, which is very key.
Lou's signals mean the bucks are bedded. Things are looking up for Richard, but Mike and Ron are out of luck. They're on another ridge and can't get to the deer, but they can watch the hunt unfold. Lou has a mark on the bucks. Now he and Patrick make a plan for the final stalk. Colorado regulations don't allow scopes for this hunt, so Richard's effective range is 100 yards or less.
That wind's not going to blow them out of there, is it? That's already within range. I don't think you have to worry about it. I guess 75. How far do you think they're on the other side of that hill? Just far enough to where they're standing. I saw the horns and the tips of the ears. I didn't see eyes. These are going to be point blank. We're talking 25 to maybe 50 yards. So when we get up there, if those deer stand up and they make us, I need you to get in your shooting position, get ready to shoot. Just sit up if we're crawling. Just sit up, put your knees, and I'll tell you the deer on the left, deer on the right. But bottom line is they're all going to be shooter bucks.
Lou will stay put as Patrick tries to ease Richard closer.
You ready to go, brother? It's got to stay low and try to be quiet. Let's try not to brush against anything.
The bucks are up and down feeding, then laying back down.
We ready?
Every time they lay down, Richard and Patrick move closer.
Just go ahead and sit down, take a breath.
Any of these bucks would do, but Patrick has his eyes on that wide one on the left. He looks to be well over 30 inches wide.
Now, we're getting real close to this deer. We're probably within 90 yards of him right now. So we want to be real careful about where we place our feet. We don't want to be stepping on that stuff. This stuff right here, that's real brittle. You want to try to place your feet in the sand spots. Go for the sand. That's the quietest out here.
Every step has to be taken with extreme caution. One wrong step on some brush, and the bucks could blow out of here. Finally, they're in range. It's around 80 to 90 yards. Only 20 more yards, and it will be a good shot. The gusting wind helps cover the noise of the approaching hunter, but makes it tough to hold a rifle steady.
All right, I'm on him. Y'all get him up. Get him up.
Richard steadies his night rifle. He's hearing the soft grunter, but is in no hurry to get up. Great shot, Richard. That's right in the boiler room.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, man.
Man alive,
Look at that.
Oh, doggy.
Man.
That is
that.
a big
Look at
deer.
that.
Look at that deer.
Oh, man.
Wow. If that's not a big eastern Colorado mule deer, I don't know what is. So, wow.
I didn't grow up seeing these things running around South Alabama.
No, that's one of the better deer we've taken with a muzzleloader for sure.
Wow. I tell you, those other ones with it weren't shabby either.
No, they were all nice deer.
That's what I call a nice running pack.
Yeah, that's a good job. Good job.
Thank you so much.
And that's
Man, we have combed for 4 days. I tell you, our trip ends in about 2 hours. I'd say this is a heck of a way to finish it off.
Yeah. Now we had a great week of hunting out here on the eastern plains of Colorado. Knight and Hale, Adventures Wild. I think we make a pretty good team.
I say it's working well.
All right. Yeah.
We came out earlier, right down there on the highway. We were riding along, and I looked up there in the woods, and there was nothing but bones standing up there. It's 2 bucks, but one great big 10-point. Obviously, he had a doe up there somewhere. We didn't see her, but that was right over there on that hillside, and that's not a quarter mile off this property, and as a crow flies, not a half a mile from where we were sitting this morning. That's nowhere for a big buck to travel. We went out and recharged batteries and got regrouped after I shot at that coyote and missed. We're fixing to get back in the stand. Tomorrow we may not leave that stand because that was right in the middle of the day when we saw that buck. That wind is blowing kind of out that way. Fixing to hang this up here to kind of cover our scent this evening. Ooh, maybe this will help mask this and the stealth dust and all that. Try to do all we can. Try to do all we can. Let's see this thing. I just run this right around here. Right around one more time.
The muzzleloader season is in full swing as Chuck Jones is hunting with Ralph Biedenbender. Several bucks are using this vast deer country, and binoculars are a must for ground this open to size up your trophy. It is post-rut, but bucks are still on the prowl looking for last-minute receptive does around a good clover food source.
Night boy. I tell you what, these deer are starting to move. You can tell when deer start to move, but all the guns start going off everywhere. About the first 30 minutes, there was one shot, and I bet we've heard 15 shots. Deer are moving good. These bucks are on the prowl this morning. Those 2 little bucks roamed off. There's another little buck right there. That's a different buck. It's what we heard grunting over a while ago. It's probably that deer. That deer got a different, his rag's different on each side. Probably standing over there grunting at each other. It's kind of a long, I thought, aggressive sounding grunt. I bet they were looking at each other, trying to decide who's going to run the show for today. Now these bucks are out prowling. That's where that guy shot a while ago. He heads off there, he's gonna get shot. Don't walk over there, buddy. It's like spring break to these. That's a pretty deer. There's a buck. There's a good buck right there. It's a good deer. He's coming straight at us. He heard that deer call. It is a good buck. Come on, buddy. Right here. Come on, buddy. Come on. That deer came out of nowhere. I just was grunting at that little buck a while ago. There was a buck grunting over there this morning. A while ago, I think there was 3 different bucks in there. Look at there. That's what them big rascals do to you right there. I just started grunting a while ago, loud, using both ends of this thing. That deer going across there. Stuck the call in my pocket, was looking at him because there's another hunter over there. Jeremy and I talking about he's gonna get shot, and I looked over there and standing right on that hill, his bone. Always, always, always carry a deer call with you during the rut. It's a still morning, these bucks hear that. They think another buck's chasing does. Here they come. I'll tell you what, that disc rifle laid him down. I can't believe I made a lot better shot than what I did on that coyote yesterday. Deer was maybe 45 yards. I had a perfect rest up there. I feel good about this gun. This thumb hole stock, is so easy to shoot. I'm shooting Bob Parker's 250 grain bullet in there. And matter of fact, he's making a bullet for Knight's new gun. Look at this buck. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, almost 12 beautiful points. Look at that rascal. Oh me. That is a big old deer. That is a big buck. We're here in Illinois, and if you hadn't hunted Illinois, it's a draw. I drew a tag outright this year. Matter of fact, Harold and David and Walter
and myself, all 4 drew muzzleloader tags. This is a weekend hunt, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm here with Ralph Biedenbender. His buddy Josh, or his partner, put up our stands, and he put them up here where a whole lot comes together. There's food source here. There's 5 or 6 different draws that feed into it. This bean field over here next to us in Adams County has been full of does. You find the does this time of year, and this is what's going to be here. This morning we saw 5 different bucks. It's 8:45 right now. We shot this deer probably at 8 o'clock. These bucks are out cruising. I used the grunt call, our easy grunter. I took the hose off of it. It's personal preference. That's what I like. And this deer came to that grunt call. If you're not using a grunt call during this time of year, you're missing a boat on deer. And if you're not hunting Illinois, you need to. There's going to be some information later on. You need to give them a call. You need to apply. They've got an unbelievable bow season and a muzzleloader season, and you can call Ralph Biedenbender and Josh, and they can put you on a deer like this. I just hope Walter kills one bigger, and Harold and David kills one bigger than that. We'll all be happy hunters. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
Most of you deer hunters are aware already of Standing Estrus by Code Blue. Standing Estrus, what a product. It's certified that a buck has already come to it or attempted to breed from which this was taken, and that's certified by Code Blue. And what we did this past fall, I got a chance and opportunity to hunt with David Hale, and David and I, we used a double drag pad. On the front drag pad, we put Standing Estrus. On the rear drag pad, we used Code Blue's buck urine, which again is Code Blue, 1 deer, 1 bottle. We applied that to make the sense of a buck trailing a doe, and we dragged that in. And you cannot believe, but you will get to see the hunt on what happened. And every one of the bucks that came up on this stuff followed it and went right to the drag pad. So don't forget, Standing Estrus by Code Blue. It's a product you can find at your better sporting goods stores everywhere.
Walter Parrott is in Illinois for the firearms whitetail season. He has been still hunting for a day and a half, but the weather is about to change, and so is Walter.
Here's what those deer are doing out here. It's the second afternoon of a 3-day firearm season in Illinois. I'm in Adams County. Tried a couple other spots, nothing's worked out so far. Landowner's been seeing 2 giant deer right here. Come in yesterday at noon on some tree stands off a point here. Got a real brushy bottom right here. Got a little food plot down here. Got a front coming in tonight. Overcast, cooling off. Hopefully the deer are gonna move.
Walter sits on stand the last evening. Then that night, the weather goes sour. The next morning, plans are underway to make some drives on this property.
It's definitely need to be set up in here then.
Walter, they talking about this big weed field out here, out in this bottom, taking a 4-wheeler out there. We need to be in place before that even starts and pushes those deer up in this bluff, maybe.
Right. Because if anything comes to this bluff, get it in here, then we'll all bring it towards you anyway.
That's cedar, thick cedar all along that bluff line right there. Well, you know with this wind and those ravines, and then this has not been hunted, right?
No.
This strip, all this hunting's been around here.
And it's steep up at this point right here, so.
There's got to be
And
some
then with
deer
that-
pushed in there.
And then with that weed patch out here, I mean.
Oh, that looks good. Put a standard here, Walter and I'll get here, and then somebody on the bottom to see.
Definitely need somebody on the
Yeah,
bottom.
because this ditch comes out on it into the corner of the old cornfield there. Somebody does need to be right there. It's a
And the
deep,
wind's
deep ditch.
perfect southwest
Right.
wind blowing that.
So if we start out here in the weed patch and come this way, the wind would be perfect for everything coming to this bluff too.
Our host, Ralph Biedenbender, Nick Lansing, and Josh Lapsley have a well-laid drive strategy underway. Nick will sit overlooking this field edge while Walter moves to the edge of the bluff line.
This is where the first set of standards are going to be. We're going to go on down to the edge right here and drop off the bluff. There's a bench down there we're going to set up and watch. Days like this are days that you can get out, put standards out, and drive deer. You can't get in a tree stand on a day like this. The wind's blowing 25, 30 miles an hour. It's not safe. The deer aren't moving very good, so we're going to try to make something happen. It's important that once you get close to where you're going to be, actually, we're going to still hunt into where we're going to set up. You just never know what you're going to see here. It's windy days. These standards give us 20 minutes. The drivers give us 20 minutes to get down to our position and get set up. So everybody's synchronized. We'll get this thing started in just a few minutes. I picked this spot a couple reasons. I can still see this point right here and this draw through these open woods. There's a trail coming down this point right here, and another trail meets it right here in the bottom of the creek. These are escape routes, and that's what those deer are going to run when they start pushing them. So get yourself up here a little bit higher. I got a good vantage point here. I can see well all over. Get yourself up against the tree, get your outline broke up. And most importantly, stay ready, because the wind's perfect, blowing right in my face. All we need is some deer to show up. Dope. Yeah. Here's a buck right there.
As you can hear, the wind is howling as this cold front approaches. Wind gusts are reaching 50 miles per hour. These are great conditions for a deer drive. You can believe none of these guys would climb a tree on a day like this.
Don't see no buck yet. Man, slow down. What a doe. It's a big doe right there. Well, if a buck comes through here, if he's going that fast, I'm going to have a problem stopping him. You whistle at him, or sometimes you have to holler at him, wind like this. You got to be paying attention on a hunt like this now. This wind's blowing. Of course, we got the wind direction the way we want it, but you got to be looking. You're not going to hear him, because it's going to happen fast. Oh man, you believe that? He's down. That's what happens. Those does and little ones come flying through here. He got off that track. Right there, buddy.
That is a big
My gosh. Oh. Now the shaking starts. What a beautiful deer. What a beautiful deer. Oh goodness. Oh. Chuck Jones, look at this. Look at this, buddy. Oh. What a big deer. My gosh, look at this deer. What a monster. I'll tell you what, if you're not hunting Illinois, you are missing out. Whether you're a bow hunter, gun hunter, whatever you want to hunt, you've seen some of the footage these boys have taken of these deer, Josh and Ralph. You've seen the deer at the check station. This place is phenomenal.
They got duck hunting as a bonus, Muddy Rivers Lodge, upland game, anything you want. You got to give these guys a call. You got to hunt this place. I know Chuck Jones and I will be back here for sure. Man, what a pig. Of course, he's been rubbing.
Beautiful.
What about that, boys?
All right. Beautiful deer.
Oh, man. What do you think, bud?
He's a good one.
He is a good one.
He's a good one.
Boy, he's got it all. Mass.
What a monster.
What a beautiful
I can't get
deer.
over the size of him.
Big
I mean, his
deer.
body is huge.
Wow.
He's a good deer.
That's great.
He's a good deer.
Way to go, Waller.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate all your work. I appreciate it. Thanks, Josh.
Beautiful deer.
Beautiful deer.
Great day for a drive, wasn't it?
Oh, man.
Windy.
Man, the
Rainy.
first deer come through there was like, I don't know, 8 or 10 little ones and a little bitty buck come through there, and they were just flying through there. Like usual, this guy got off their path and he come slipping down the point about 10 minutes after they come through.
Wow.
We was hoping that was what was going to happen, and
Great.
at least I think that's what happened. Man, he was beautiful come sneaking through. He didn't know he was in the world.
Well,
How much you think the Steady Ready's helped you?
Harold, there ain't no doubt it's helped me a bunch. I'd say at least 50% better shooter and maybe more. I'm just gonna be conservative. And how has it helped me? Well, first of all, I've got 3 or 4 things that happens to me when I shoot. I get target panic. I know a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't, but I do bad. So now instead of my brain saying let go, and my finger working a half a second later and shooting that arrow out over yonder 20 or 30 feet away from the target, I miss it by about 4 or 5 inches because I got it locked in right here. This thing is as neat as it can be for holding your bow steady and as long as you can. And I think one of the more important things is we always want to tune our bow in. I can tune that bow now in about 5 shots because I can hold it steady.
Something I really like too, David, I've always had problems, my string hitting my sleeve, especially in cold weather bow hunting or when I wear clothes, you know, heavy clothes. And that keeps it, your arm cocked like this, it keeps it out.
Serves as an arm guard.
That's right.
Another thing, Harold, is a lot of folks don't realize, but you can let this bow down and shoot right there and it's out of your way. You've got a certain amount of degree here. It's not straight back toward your stomach. You let it down, you can shoot him here anywhere you want to.
Last year I shot a deer with this, right straight down.
You can do it both ways.
Do it both ways. I was doing just like that, shot him right straight down. Another thing I really like about this too, I've always had problems. You know, these bows are heavier than they used to be. And you put everything on them, if you put your stabilizer, your quiver, and everything on them, and you hold that bow out there, I've always come down and never stop. Now then, I can come down and stop, anchor right in and sit there and hold it and get right on my target.
Well, there's a ton of usage for this instrument, and of course I want everybody to understand that what you're seeing here are prototypes. We got new ones coming. Mine's a little bit different from Harold's. And we have taken the advantages for both of them and put them all in one. It's going to be a lot lighter. It's going to be neater. But you know, Harold, we've already found out that this thing will work while you turkey hunt. We've already used it this spring. You can rotate it all the way down, set it on the ground, use it as a stick, as a one-arm steady rest, and you're sitting there holding your shotgun. With your other hand, you can work your call like this right here. You know, when I look back on that, thinking about the turkey hunting days, I've no telling how many people I've taken that want to carry them a big old heavy gun, and they get it up here and the turkey's coming and he's coming and he's coming, and next thing you know, they're just letting their gun down like this. Those days are over. And of course, I think one of the most important things you can do with this deal is, look what a great advantage it would be for a guy that's walking and shooting with a rifle for deer hunting. He's still hunting, but yet he's walking around out here looking. That's almost like advice now. You don't even have to find a tree.
Another thing too, David, I hunted with out west this year deer hunting. Never did get my way. Never. After you hunt with it a day or so, you never even know what's on you.
You know, you've just taken all the fear out of pulling your bow back, and all the steadiness is gone. I mean, it's there, and all the shakiness is gone. It may be the greatest product we've ever seen.
Just before sunrise on the opening of the Illinois gun season, Harold Knight searches the entire area with his Burris binoculars for the first deer of the day. Harold is hunting on well-managed property controlled for all wildlife species by Peabody Energies. Seeing deer won't be an issue here. As a matter of fact, Harold is looking for a true trophy buck, and believe me, this Peabody land has plenty of really good bucks. It's the third week of November, which in this part of the U.S. means the rut is rockin' and rollin'. Every buck in the woods is looking for hot does. This youngster won't play a part in this season's breeding, but he still wants to play the part of the cat and mouse chase between bucks and does. Well, in most areas, this buck would be a shooter, but Harold knows here on Peabody he can be selective. Harold has set his sights on nothing less than a mid-150 class whitetail, and rightfully so.
It's the first morning. I'm not going to shoot him.
Passing bucks like this can cost a hunter, but to bag a surefire big trophy, you have to let those kinds of bucks grow another year or two. Bucks are running wild after hot does, and Harold is enjoying every minute of this hunt, still waiting for Mr. Big. A strategic shooting lane runs out to the food plot in front of Harold's stand, so every deer that comes through this strip of timber, Harold will get a look at. Harold notices these does keep watching their back trail, and sure enough, a good buck is tagging along.
There's a buck. He's a shooter.
It's the one he's been waiting on. The brush is thick, but the wind is perfect, and the big buck is following the trail of these does.
I don't want to get that thick stuff. There's the doe coming. No, it's another little buck.
This is a really good buck. He has it all: long tines, mass, and long main beams. It's a mature buck, and he's moving right toward the shooting lane. Harold is patiently waiting with his Benelli for the perfect broadside shot.
Nah.
It's a solid hit. Harold is all eyes, marking the last spot where he saw this buck.
Did you see that? That was a great deer. That's a heavy deer. I don't know where he hit him, but he stopped right yonder. I saw him in the scope. He stopped right there in that thicket. Now I can see him if he goes out on the other side. I'm gonna watch. We're gonna sit here 30 minutes before we move. Man alive, I can't take a lot of that. That's exciting. Now that was. Right here's where he was when I shot him. About 75, 80 yards. Right there's blue. Right there's blue. Where he was at. Yonder he is. Yonder he is. I seen him. Man, I want y'all to look here, folks. What a deer. That is a great deer anywhere. I'm here on Peabody Energy in Randolph County in southern Illinois, and I'm gonna tell you something. I passed a good deer up this morning, a 125-inch deer, and I don't normally do that. I can't never remember doing that very many times. But I did because I knew it was some big deer like this in the woods where I was hunting. Man, I tell you what, I am glad I passed him up now, because if I'd have shot that 125, I wouldn't have killed a deer like this. This is a great deer. I mean, he's got mass. I don't know how many points he's got. I ain't even counted them yet, but buddy, he's a good deer in my book. You know something else? I was using a shotgun slug this morning. This is the second deer I've ever killed with a shotgun slug. This is a super black eagle Benelli. And I'm gonna tell you something, I was using a 2 3/4 inch slug instead of a 3-inch slug, a Winchester slug, and I'm gonna tell you something, that thing will shoot. I shot it yesterday and trying to pattern my gun and see just how far I could shoot it. I was shooting about 100 yards, and I feel very comfortable shooting deer at 100 yards. This one was 75 yards of range. That's something else you ought to take a rangefinder with you when you're using a muzzleloader or a shotgun slug. I tell you what, thank you, dear Lord, I couldn't ask for a better hunt than this. Goodness.
The Rack Attack by Knight and Hale. Lightweight, durable, safe to carry, and easy. Can this be effective to call up a deer? You bet it can. You just watch this upcoming footage of a real buck fight and see what they call up. Those sounds will bring a deer, and they'll bring it to you. The rack attack. Don't hunt this season without it.
Jim Strelick decided to take his new Knight Revolution muzzleloader out for a December hunt near his home in Kentucky. He also has a trick up his sleeve involving Code Blue's newest scent. Let's listen and learn.
It's time for me to put my scent on. Okay, we got us a double drag pad, and we're gonna set a doe and a buck trailing. And what we're gonna use is standing estrus. This is the newest thing in the scent industry. You don't have to worry about whether this works or not. It's certified by Code Blue that a buck has already come to it or has attempted to breed the doe that this urine was taken from. It's standing estrus, so we're gonna put that on our front drag pad. Okay. Right back in the Ziploc bag. And we're gonna put buck urine. Code Blue buck urine, 1 deer, 1 bottle. We'll do that. Get it on our drag pad. We're about, I'd say 150 yards from where I'm gonna stand, where the stands are. And we're gonna set a drag trail through here and get everything ready to go. And then we'll take these bottles, put them out, we're ready to go. Here we go. Put the drag pad on. I never do tie it, I just make it where I can slip it on, slip it off. It doesn't ever come up. Now we're ready to go. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm about 100 yards from the thicket now. And where those cedars are, I'm gonna go through it, then I'm gonna branch off to the right and get out, and then ease up to my stand. All right, so we'll hang the drag pads there.
The second rut usually hits during this time in Kentucky, so using scents like standing estrus and buck urine is still very effective on later hunts. Well, after using his drag pad to lay a scent trail, Jim leaves it close to his stand as an added attractant. Deer move all day during the colder months, and these 3 does keep Jim's attention as they move out of a thicket near his stand. Now folks, pay close attention to what unfolds the next couple of minutes. These does are at the point where Jim's drag pad trail went to his right, yet the does chose to go straight ahead and leave the scent trail they'd been on.
Here comes another one right behind us, coming right up through the thicket.
Now check this out. Now this is truly amazing. After a few moments, a nice 8-pointer shows up on the same trail the does were on. At the junction where the does went straight ahead, this buck chooses to turn right and follow the standing estrus trail. While Jim waits for a shot to present itself, he hears another deer walking and turns to see a bigger buck coming up the same trail. Now watch this. He actually starts up the trail the does took, then stops, realizing he's not on the standing estrus trail, turns right, and gets back on the trail Jim laid.
Right there he is. I heard him crash. He didn't go 50 yards. What a December hunt. Let's go. Look at this. Look at this deer. Look at this. Isn't that great? And in December, not broke up. What a deer. I can't believe it. I had a time. Listen, I've noticed in December in this second muzzleloading season, our second rut's in, and these bucks tend to get back together. You know, those does came up through there. Everything seemed like it was on the drag pad trail right where I was. And we got up there below that thicket, those does come out and they went straight up. Well, I came around, and them bucks, they came right around where that standing estrus was on that drag line. They followed it right perfect. Went right under there, was fantastic. Oh man, I'm really excited. Great December hunt. Oh, my night revolution, unbelievable. Unbelievable what a time we had. Great December hunt.
Well, we're in Nebraska. This is a Platte river bottom, and as you can see in the background, the corn is out. It's very, very important. Corn and alfalfa are the main crops, but when this corn is up out here, these deer live in this corn. When they cut the corn, there in those woods in the background, that's the Platte river bottom. As a matter of fact, in 1987, my good buddy who's here with me, I'm here on his place, Jim McConaughey, we're lifelong buddies. This is the first place that we ever traveled to hunt whitetails. Out of state, we're both from Louisiana. He's here this week. His son, Adam, is coming in. My good buddy, Tad Jenkins, is here. And we're gonna hang in some cedars down in these draws and stuff. Jim's got an idea of some places to hunt. He's hunted this place every year since 1987. Jim leases 15 or 20 miles of this river bottom, and it is some of the most productive and enjoyable whitetail hunting in the country. Lots of deer. The deer density here is phenomenal. You get on the stand, you're going to see 15 or 20 deer a hunt. A lot of bucks. This is peak of the pre-rut. Usually this time of year, the little bucks are chasing. The big bucks are just cruising. So we're going to sit in our summits. I'm going to have my Matthews in hand. I'm going to have my arrow loaded with my extreme rocket broadheads.
Chuck jumps into his stand, his first day of hunting, and there is no shortage of deer movement. Some nice bucks are offering some pretty tempting opportunity, but it's the first part of the hunt. Once again, deer are on the move. This area supports a tremendous deer population. It's definitely not a boring hunt. If you like to see a lot of deer, this is a great place to be. Jim has controlled and managed this property for many years, and it has produced some whopper bucks for he and his other hunters. The young bucks are in hot pursuit, and it has every doe on her toes. They're looking and listening to every sound and movement.
I'm covered up with stealth dust. Got my scent control stuff on. That stuff makes a difference too. You don't have to worry about what the wind's doing so bad. A lot of humidity this morning. A lot of times you're seeing a bunch of deer when deer are really moving. And then you hit a lull period for about an hour and you let your guard down, or I do. And that's when you're just sitting there daydreaming and look up and a deer shows up all of a sudden. A buck.
Well, it can happen just like that. A hunter is sitting all relaxed, and out of nowhere, a good buck appears.
That's a good buck. It's a good buck.
He's coming straight in, and this doesn't look good for Chuck to get a good shot angle. This will test your nerves, wondering if he'll ever turn broadside. The buck walks straight under Chuck's tree, then spots a doe and turns, heading for one open lane that our hunter has.
Man, I had one little bitty hole. I didn't think I was gonna get a shot at him. I believe he cleared a right away when he hit out there. Now there's the sign of a good broadhead. The deer was standing right here when I shot him. In 5 feet, there is blood everywhere. That is amazing. It's about where I heard him crash. That's because there he lays. Look at that thing right there. That is what did all this. Look at that. It's been like that for 75 yards. Shooting the rocket steelhead extreme. Oh, that is a big old deer. Hey, baby. God, look at that. Heavy. You know what? Speaking of blood, one of the things you want to do is clean your animal up. If you're going to have pictures that are going to show up in the public, try to clean him up. Give him the respect that he deserves. Man, this Nebraska whitetail hunting, my buddy Jimmy Mack, he's taken 8 or 9 Pope and Young deer out here. He's got a bow hunting service here. Fantastic property. This will be the least deer taken this week. We've had a good time.
Harold, every once in a while a good deer will get away, and this is one that gets away and he's worthy of showing because of his size. This is Dick Tillman. They're out there in Kansas spotting stalking, and they see a giant deer and they're trying to get close to him.
Wind was blowing hard and it gave them a chance to get close to this deer. That is a super deer.
Shows you once again just how good a buck some of these states can raise.
Well, it don't show you how close they got that deer. They got in 20-something yards, this deer.
I don't know what that deer grows, but it's way on up the scale.
He's a shooter in my book with anything I've got in my hand. Beautiful footage.
I believe Dick left his heart in San Francisco right there, didn't he?
Whew, 200 inches of antler at least. That wind must have just whirled a little bit right there where he's laying. He just bolted. My heart's never gonna slow down. That is amazing.
Look at where they live out here.
Yeah. How do you ever get to them? What are the odds?